From the UFC world, Ilia Topuria says that if you guys ever boxed, he would knock you out based on the first punch.
That dude drunk, you know. Hey, you know a lot of MMA guys, they drink a lot, so he must have been on that alcohol that day.
Ilia Topuria is not holding back. After Terence Crawford claimed he didn't even know who Toporia was, the UFC star blasted the boxing champion online, accusing him of lying about their first meeting and warning that his chin will fail him if the two ever step into a ring. At the same time, Joe Rogan has once again demanded a major UFC rule change, pushing for more weight classes so fighters don't have to compete with such massive size differences. Meanwhile, Sean O'Malley has been addressing rumors about a fight with Song Yadong. Jared Gordon shocked fans by admitting he was hit by a car just before his last fight, and Kelvin Gastelum is under fire for badly missing weight. With so much drama unfolding in the MMA world, let's break it all down in detail, from Toporia's fiery response to Crawford, to Rogan's crusade for fairer weight classes, and everything in between.
Division is wild, man.
Yeah.
And no one weighs 135 pounds.
Dude, Aljo, I heard Aljo say he was like 170 or something the other day.
Aljo's so big. Build is like the perfect 135 pound. Like, you can't get any bigger, any leaner.
Yeah.
I think Diego Sanchez was always a tweener.
Anthony Fluffy Hernandez has been on a strong run in the UFC's middleweight division. Known for his relentless grappling pressure and his ability to drown opponents with pace, he was set to face Reinier de Ridder, RDR, a fighter with an equally impressive grappling resume. De Ridder was previously a champion in one championship, holding belts in 2 weight classes, and many were curious to see how he would match up in the UFC against Hernandez. But just weeks before the fight, Hernandez injured himself in camp and was forced to withdraw. This left the UFC in a tough spot, as they needed a replacement quickly. That's when Brendan Allen stepped up. Allen is a dangerous middleweight who has built a reputation for his slick submissions and resilience. He had just defeated Marvin Vettori in an impressive performance that re-established him as a contender after back-to-back losses.
I just told him, like, our problems aside, like, my heart goes out to him and his family. My brother has his accident, and he totally lost his brother, so I can't imagine the pain that it feels to fully lose your brother. I didn't lose mine fully, but it still hurts.
Taking a short notice fight against someone like De Ridder is risky, but Allen knew this was his chance to climb the rankings. The drama didn't stop there. Paulo Costa, one of the division's most polarizing fighters, claimed he had been offered the fight, but turned it down because the UFC wanted it to be 5 rounds. Costa said he was fine with 3 but didn't feel prepared for 5 on short notice. Caio Borralho jumped in on social media, calling Costa out and saying he was ready to fight 5 rounds without hesitation. Azamat Mirzakhanov also hinted he'd take the fight. Fans quickly pieced together that the fight in question was De Ridder versus Hernandez. Eventually, the UFC confirmed Allen as the replacement, and Hernandez released a statement apologizing to the UFC, De Ridder, and the fan.
Hard fought. You mentioned after the fight that you were on some antibiotics. Like, how serious were things leading into the fight?
Let's just say I got off amoxicillin Friday.
Okay.
So I felt like shit, and then I'm not gonna lie, I messed up my ribs 2 weeks ago. So my ribs were before, and it was just like...
He said it was heartbreaking to pull out, but promised to recover and return stronger. Brendan Allen now has the spotlight. For a fighter like him, this is a career-defining moment. Beating De Ridder on short notice would catapult him into the top of the division and open doors to even bigger fights. Sean O'Malley, the Bantamweight champion known for his flashy style and knockout power, has also been in the headlines. Rumors swirled that he was set to face Song Yadong, a rising contender from China who has made waves with his aggressive striking and heavy hands. O'Malley finally addressed the rumors on his YouTube channel. He admitted he liked the idea of fighting Yadong and said the matchup made sense. He added that he was healthy and ready to compete anywhere from November to February. However, he also admitted that if the UFC called him for a fight on just a week's notice, he would probably decline because he wants the full benefit of a training camp. Song Yadong, for his part, denied that a December fight was happening. This left fans scratching their heads. The clash of styles would be fascinating. O'Malley's rangy, creative striking against Yadong's power and pressure.
Plan is, there's nothing official on my side. I haven't talked to UFC specifically on who, when, and where. Song seems like a great next opponent, though. I mean, it makes sense. I like the matchup. That seems good.
For now, the fight remains only a rumor, but it's one fans hope will be made official in the near future. One of the most surprising stories came from Jared Gordon. After losing to Rafa Garcia, fans were puzzled by his performance. Then Bilal Muhammad revealed on social media that Gordon had been hit by a car just before the fight. At first, people thought it was a joke, but Gordon later confirmed it himself. He explained that after weigh-ins, he was standing in the street when a car began backing out. The driver wasn't paying attention, and the car rolled over Gordon's foot. The bumper twisted his knee, spraining his MCL. Gordon admitted he thought about pulling out, but decided to go ahead with the fight because he didn't want to waste his training camp. Looking back, he said it might have been the wrong decision, but he wanted to honor his preparation and the UFC. Fans were stunned by his toughness, but also worried about his health. While he wasn't hospitalized after the fight, it's unclear how long he'll be sidelined. Gordon's story highlights the sacrifices fighters make and the risks they take just to step into the cage. Bo Nickel, one of the most decorated wrestlers to ever enter MMA, also made headlines with comments about Khamzat Chimaev.
Did any of you guys happen to see the training footage that just came out on hospital? He was with the Russian national team.
I did, yeah.
Will you admit that he looked a little better than that? I thought he looked a little sharper than I was aware he was.
He's pretty good, yeah, pure wrestling. He's got some skills. What information do we have? We have a short video of him training with good wrestlers. We have video of him beating up some high school kids in Sweden.
Nickel, who won multiple NCAA wrestling championships before transitioning to MMA, is unbeaten and widely regarded as a future star. When asked about Chimaev, Nickel praised his talent but also said he still has weaknesses in his game. Nickel pointed out that Chimaev has dominated striking-based fighters like Robert Whittaker, Dracus du Plessis, and Li Jingliang by taking them down and smashing them. But Nickel argued that against a grappler of his caliber, it would be a different story. He doubted that Chimaev could take him down and said he was confident his cardio would hold up over the course of a fight. Gilbert Burns, who fought Chimaev in one of the best fights of 2022, also shared his thoughts. Burns believes Reinier de Ridder might actually be the toughest challenge for Chimaev because of his jiu-jitsu skills. Meanwhile, Chimaev is enjoying life as champion. He was recently gifted a Ferrari 296 GTB, a reminder of the wealth and fame that come with success in the UFC.
You were extremely dominant in there. You landed the most total strikes ever in a UFC fight, over 500. Were you surprised you couldn't get him out of there over the course of the 5 rounds?
No, just was working on him, so I had some cool time on that there. So just spoke with him, spoke with his coach.
While fans debate who can stop him, Chimaev continues to live like a superstar. The featherweight division has been buzzing with tension. Lerone Murphy, fresh off a highlight reel knockout, immediately declared he should be next for the title. He criticized Aljamain Sterling, saying he didn't deserve to be in the conversation because he had only 2 wins in his last 4 fights. Murphy argued that Sterling was great at bantamweight but average at featherweight. Sterling didn't let that slide. He reminded Murphy that he was a 3-time defending bantamweight champion and had far more UFC wins. The two traded jabs on social media, with Murphy pointing out that Sterling's wins at featherweight came against a weakened Brian Ortega and Calvin Kattar, who was on a losing streak. Sterling clapped back, saying he never turned down fights and deserved to be considered. Movsar Evloev jumped into the mix, suggesting that if Murphy didn't get the title shot, he and Murphy should fight. Diego Lopez, who has quickly become a fan favorite, also called out both Murphy and Evloev. With Alexander Volkanovski healthy and ready to defend his belt, the UFC now faces a crowded field of contenders, all eager for their shot at gold. Meanwhile, the UFC announced some roster moves. Gerald Meerschaert, a veteran with the most submission wins in UFC middleweight history, is set to fight Kyle Daukaus at UFC 322. Daukaus recently returned to the UFC with a strong win and is looking to build momentum. The heavyweight division also got a new face with the signing of Max Jimenez, a Brazilian jiu-jitsu champion with a 6-1 record. Gilbert Burns gave fans an update on his career. He revealed that while he still has 4 fights left on his UFC contract, he might not finish all of them. Burns explained that thanks to smart financial planning, he doesn't need to fight for money anymore. He said he fights because he loves the sport, but admitted he might only take 2 more fights. He also said he would like to face Colby Covington before stepping away, which would be a dream matchup for many fans. Joe Rogan, one of the UFC's biggest commentators and personalities, once again called for more weight classes.
You know, he was like a little bit too small for 55. And, you know, when he tried to make 45, like that was way too much of a weight cut.
Yeah.
And at 70, like, I think he was small for those guys. He beat a lot of good guys at all those weight classes.
Rogan has long argued that the current system is unfair to fighters stuck between divisions. He pointed out that there is a 20-pound gap between 185 and 205 pounds, which is huge in MMA. He also criticized the heavyweight division, which ranges from 206 to 265 pounds. Rogan said it was ridiculous to expect someone weighing 230 to fight someone cutting from 280 or more. Rogan suggested creating a cruiserweight division at 225 pounds and even removing the upper limit for heavyweight. He pointed to boxing as an example, where there are many weight classes and no issues with oversized fighters. His comments sparked debate again, with many fans agreeing that the UFC should evolve its system, while others worried it would dilute the divisions. Daniel Cormier, himself a former two-division champion, shared his thoughts on Kelvin Gastelum. Gastelum fought at middleweight but missed weight by 5 pounds. That's a major miss in the UFC. Despite this, Gastelum won his fight with sharp boxing, but Cormier admitted he was uncomfortable interviewing him afterward. Cormier explained that missing weight gives a fighter an unfair advantage and disrespects the opponent. He respected Gastelum's career but said the weight miss was unacceptable. He even admitted he considered skipping the post-fight interview because it didn't feel right to celebrate the win. Gastelum has had weight-cutting issues in the past, and it seems unlikely he will ever fight at welterweight again. Finally, the biggest story of the week, the feud between Ilia Topuria and Terence Crawford. Crawford, one of the best boxers of his generation, used Toporia's walkout song before a fight. Toporia didn't like that and took it as disrespect. Crawford dismissed the criticism, saying he didn't even know who Toporia was. He claimed Toporia shook his hand politely in person, but then trashed him online. Crawford accused him of clout chasing. Toporia fired back on social media. He said Crawford was lying and reminded him that he had wished him good luck before a fight. Topuria promised that Crawford's chin would fail him and declared himself ready to represent MMA against boxing. He wants to be the first UFC fighter to cross into Zuffa boxing and face Crawford. Dana White has said he doesn't want UFC fighters crossing over into boxing, but Topuria's passion has kept the idea alive. Fans are buzzing about the possibility of the UFC featherweight champion facing boxing's pound-for-pound king. It would be one of the biggest crossover fights in combat sports history. This week highlighted the drama and excitement that make MMA so compelling, from injuries and weight misses to fiery rivalries and debates about rules. The sport never stands still. Ilia Topuria versus Terence Crawford may or may not happen, but the back and forth between them has already captured fans' imaginations. And with Joe Rogan pushing for rule changes, fighters like O'Malley and Murphy jockeying for position, and stars like Gordon and Allen fighting through adversity, the UFC continues to produce stories that keep the world hooked.